Welcome to I Had No Idea. Safe and healthy use for technology for our kids. There's one kid that benefits from this, if there's one family that benefits from something that we talk about, then the whole thing's worth it. Welcome to I Had No Idea, Cyber Empowerment, where we are joined together to help our students, to help each other be safe online, to use our technology responsibly, really. Today we're going to be talking about cyberbullying and David's Law here in Texas, but really how we can have a digital shield to help teach our kids what responsibility there is in using their technology while keeping them safe and not engaging in cyberbullying. So, back whenever we were young, physical bullying happened a lot at schools. It happened everywhere, really, but we could see it happening. We could see if someone was not being nice to the person sitting at a table at lunch. We could see somebody getting pushed around on a playground. But it's not the same today, and it's not the same for our kids. In 2026, this can really be more of a high-stakes situation for students and their mental health. So let's first talk about what David's Law is. Regarding cyberbullying, which I kind of wholly say that cyberbullying is when you do something very intentionally with malice to harm somebody using any technological means, and it could be pictures or videos, posts, sharing things inappropriately, things that really have an intention of causing harm. So before David's Law came out in Texas, which took place in the year 2017, there was nothing that schools could do about it. There was nothing that we really knew to do because it was a whole new frontier. It was happening away from the school in many, many cases, and it tied our hands. But when 16-year-old David Molak from San Antonio underwent relentless cyberbullying to the point of taking his life, we realized through the heroic efforts of his parents, Maureen Molak of David's Legacy now, that we have to do more, and we have to be more responsible in sharing safety measures with our kids and letting them know the consequences if they continue to engage in cyberbullying. So what really happened is that cyberbullying did become a counted misdemeanor. It had no place other than that in Texas law. And while it says misdemeanor, there are some elements of David's Law regarding self-harm or someone actually encouraging another person to engage in active self-harm that could carry much more weight in the legal system. But Texas schools now do have the ability to intervene. They can investigate cyberbullying incidents, even if they happen off campus, and whether they happen to two known enrolled students in that school or if there is an actor outside or even unknown. The school can help transition or find other resources for an impacted individual or a victim where they don't have to endure that relentless torture from someone trying to cause them harm. There's also injunctions that can happen. This is important to know. It's not always about schools intervening, but parents working together if they know that kids are misusing their technology or they're using it to harm one another. Injunctive measures that the schools means the school is completely taken out. The parents can go after each other in that situation. My hope is they could work things out before and they could put a stop to it. As a counselor, I would always say to kids who didn't get along that if you separate and you don't like them and you don't go bother them, then we can all live happily ever after. But relentlessly attacking somebody else is not acceptable. We're going to stop that. So David's Law came about and helped us better have tools to intervene in cyberbullying. What we need to understand also is that it's not just mean comments. It's not just kids being kids. Some of the things that are said and done are really heinous. And there are other types of cyberbullying that we need to know about. I've got a few vocabulary words for us as parents and adults that we didn't grow up with this, so you need to know about it now and understand that threat landscape. So here's the first one, doxing. Doxing is publishing a student's home address, private information, or doing something that invites a harassment. They're really just outing them and the things that they should be able to keep private. So doxing causes a lot of harm and someone can do that to another person, and it is considered cyberbullying. Fraping is logging into someone else's account to post inappropriate content to ruin their reputation. And when I'm speaking to your kids and I'm in a school and I tell them about how this is considered cyberbullying, I always say, first of all, you have your passcode protecting your account on your phone. And if someone says, hey, let me see that picture, you open your phone and you can turn the phone around. Or if you choose to share it, you can, but don't let the phone leave your hand. Because as soon as someone else has that and it's open and they go into your Instagram or they go into your Snapchat and they send a message to someone else, they're sending it from your account with your name and your photo. So let's not hand our phones over to somebody else that we are not sure of how they're going to use it, so we don't get ourselves in trouble. It's real hard to prove it wasn't you if you handed that over and someone sent on your behalf. So that's fraping. Exclusion or ganging up, you remember this. This would happen on the playground. This would happen at the cafeteria when you would see the whole Mean Girls thing going down. But this is a form of cyberbullying that has gone into another realm because it's intentionally leaving someone out of group chats or gaming parties or using social isolation. Now here's my caution on this, because this mainly happens when there might be a group of kids roughly the same age and several of them have phones and some of them don't. Now there's good and bad things about that, and I'm not telling you you have to determine or dictate a certain age for your child to have a phone. But there is a social implication if this is going on and it's not addressed to where a child can at least start learning safe, healthy use of technology where they're not being left out. It's a really gray area. That's why I encourage folks to check out Gab, check out our first cell phone portal on I Had No Idea, where you can get some good tips for how to navigate that so that they join into their technology use and they have the social connection, but it is in a healthy way. And they gotta know what to do if someone is approaching them in a way that might be cyberbullying. We'll talk about more of the ways to report that in a moment. The last vocabulary word that you need to know, and this has just come on the scene, is deep fakes. Deep fake. Using AI to create a non-consensual suggestive image of someone is a growing but dangerous trend. We've kind of seen some headlines about that. And what a lot of our youth don't know, or people that are doing this, is that there are triaga laws in Texas about AI and its use, and those parameters being very legal now, even though we're growing to learn more about AI, where they can definitely be held accountable, and it can ruin their opportunities if they engage in the deep fake trend. So we want to discourage that, but you as parents need to know about it. So every major platform, every major social media platform now, TikTok, Instagram, Snap, has community guidelines. Even the gamers with Roblox, Twitch, Discord, there are community guidelines. And that means that if someone is being cyberbullied, they do have a way that they can report that, or they can at least say, this is flagged, this is not, not appropriate content. And then that platform has the responsibility of investigating or determining what to do. So being able to report and know that your kids are able to report and teaching them that they can report is really a very responsible and encouraged thing to do. So with that zero tolerance policy for harassment, let a kid know what cyberbullying might look like, and that, number one, they don't have to endure that they can go to a safe and trusted source like you, that you can investigate and help them deal with it. And the other thing I want to say, just kind of flipping the script on this a little bit, is that cyberbullying, while kids and people may engage in it, they think that they're not being seen or that they're not traceable. First of all, an IP address, that's an internet protocol address, anybody can find you. And with AI now, it's even easier for anybody to find you. But when a person puts, especially a public type of cyberbullying out, or they attack someone in front of everybody else on a social media platform, they're really demonstrating a lot about their own characteristics and personalities. And one thing I'm going to say about this is that people never know who's watching as someone is engaging in that behavior. It might be a future college admissions specialist. It might be an employer. And if they see those messages, images, or videos, or that misuse, they may make a determination about someone that may not always be true or just, but they're flaming somebody else out. They're saying or doing bad things to them. I will tell you a personal story. My son was recruited to play college football. And as he was going through the recruiting process and going into that college setting, we met with some of his university coaches and we just informally had conversations. How do you look at your athletes? What kind of things are you looking for in athletes? And one of the things that surprised us was that not only did they look at the social media of my son, which was very minimal at the time. He's gone through this course, trust me, in our house of Janek, we got digital detoxing 101. Not to say that he was perfect in his use, but he knew those consequences. The coaches said to us, we watch parent social media accounts. We can easily find who the parents of our athletes are. And we try to see who might be supportive or having a platform use in a way that is not negative, that is not going to be hard on us to navigate if they are, unhappy with high school coaches and they're chewing out high school coaches. What would they do for collegiate coaches? So I'm giving you this as a warning because I know a lot of you have wonderful hopes and dreams and your athletes deserve every opportunity they get. But do know that they watch not just the athletes online, they watch us too. So responsible posting, responsible use of the technology, it is not just about kids. It's really about all of us. So if your child happens to be targeted, don't just delete the app on the phone. I know the rage is going to set in. I am a mama bear, believe me, I've been in my brainstem about this. And you have to think through your steps very carefully. Don't delete it. Use the in-app reporting tool if it's in a social media situation. Now, if it's in a text situation, there's other things we can do too. But that report will flag the harasser's IP address, and it will make it harder for them to just make a new account, which is often what they do. They'll change a few things. They'll make a new account just like there's somebody else. But there's steps to take for victims. Teach your kids, and I call this the Jumbotron test, all right? When I'm presenting on this, I put a big picture of a stadium full of people out there. And one little litmus test to consider before posting anything is if you come up with content, and it's words, if it's videos, pictures, whatever, and if you tell yourself, I would not mind this being on a Jumbotron in a big stadium full of people, and if they want to see it, and it's that little cute kitten video, or you're sharing about Punch the Monkey, or some cute bunnies jumping on a trampoline, go for it. Go for it. What we haven't done yet is teach kids how to use their social media for people to see it all. LinkedIn. Right now, they're telling kids at 13 to create their LinkedIn profiles so they can be considered for future opportunities in employment and in college admissions. So it's not the defense aspect of social media, it's the offense part now. So you ask yourself, if I would not put it on a Jumbotron in front of all of these people in the stadium, I probably shouldn't put it on my social media. I probably shouldn't put it out there. Definitely tell them to avoid recording things in bedrooms and bathrooms. And I know that sounds strange, but that's an identifiable location. I'm going to tell you something that's going to probably freak you out, but I watched a online threat specialist who worked in a tactical team who was trying to actually find and rescue a child who was in a human sex trafficking situation. And the person who was filming it kept doing it in the same room, and the room had a certain type of brick in the back wall. The threat team actually did an analysis of what brick type it was, contacted local brick makers, and believe it or not, this is a true testament, I couldn't believe it myself, they were able to locate a radius of the type of brick and the I don't know if you have a model brick, but they were actually able to locate where those brick deliveries went and what kind of structures were built. With that information, they were able to rescue the girl. They got her from this house. And if that's a wonderful thing that they were able to do just by looking at the background, but I will tell you there are a lot of people that may have nefarious intent, and they will look at backgrounds and have the same opportunities to determine where something was filmed or located. So let's stay out of the bedrooms and bathrooms. Keep backgrounds neutral so that your home layout and your personal life does stay private. Okay, so while we're seeing a spike in middle school cyberbullying, 11 to 14, and it's just as brutal online as it was. You remember being a middle schooler. I remember being a middle schooler, and some of the things that kids are growing through, trying to establish their identity while trying to hack on other people's. It can start as early as the 3rd grade. And what's sad about that is that it's so much easier to put something on a screen and not think about the real person behind it, not think about there's a life behind that. I think Maureen Mollack says something about that, the life behind the screen. So you want to tell your child, if you show me something scary or mean that happened online, I promise I won't take your phone away as punishment. We are going to work through that. And there are lessons to be learned. Most of the time, and especially with the kids I've interviewed, they're mortified of this. They don't want this to happen. They have to learn how to deal with it and do more safe things later on. And they're not going to learn that automatically. When we throw them the technology with no training, we are just handing them out to a world that is so big, anything can come at them, anything can happen. And it's not really fair. And we're not doing it because we don't want them to be safe. We're doing it because we didn't grow up with this stuff. We may not always know what to say. But kids have to engage with you in what I would call a trust bridge. And what that means is, and I always say this as a counselor, if you can keep them talking, then you're winning. Sometimes you got to talk about tough stuff. But them coming to you, quite honestly, is the biggest way for them to be safe. Not everything they tell you is going to be easy to hear. But tell them, don't delete the evidence if someone is sending you something or trying to harm you. You can take screenshots, usernames, timestamps, specific messages. And this is your digital paper trail. And together, you can go to the proper authorities about that. You can report to that online community. You can find resources from the Cyberbullying Research Center. Do something that has actionable steps, and that way they will learn from you that they can be safe and that they do have an option. We cannot afford to lose kids' lives because of what happened on a screen when they think they don't have a way out. So the biggest message, don't hand your kid a phone without saying, there's going to be good, fun things you're going to do on your technology. But if something bad happens, you got to come to me so we can work it out. And that is this Cyberbullying podcast from I Had No Idea. Please follow us at IHadNoIdeaCE.com. Come to our website. We have some great content, and we'll have more for you in our next episode.